I don't think that there's many like very interesting technologies available out there which can dramatically change the user behavior. But still, I think player preferences, understanding them more within the other entertainment industries is a good start. Understanding what kind of games or features players are the most engaged with.
You're listening to 15-Minute Mastery, a show that empowers you with insights from leading iGaming experts to enhance your personal or business performance. The show is brought to you by the AI-powered data analytics platform Blask and supported by tech-driven affiliate and media company Already Media, Lala Stars, the leading casino partnership program, and Next.io, the world's iGaming community.
Hello and welcome back to 15-Minute Mastery. This is the final part of a three-part series with Dmitry on winning the market share game. Today we will discuss how to use market research to shape the overall business strategy in the iGaming industry. So first question, Dmitry, how does market research inform high-level business decisions?
Yep. I think we could look at that question from a few angles. Probably whether you want to enter a new market or you're already there in the market. So I think the first one could be market entry. So performing a research will help you to assess the viability of entering new markets or launching new services. And I think we talked about regulation previously. We talked about competitors, consumer preferences, etc. So this is probably one of the most important ones. But then let's say you're already in the market. So what kind of things you could do? And I mean, for the ones which are entering the market for the first time as well, I think this is probably the strategic planning where you could understand, and do a research into player behavioral patterns, industry trends, competitive dynamics, and help you to make a data-driven decisions on how to shape your business strategy and perform strategic planning. Product offerings is probably the next one, and I think this will inform you on what kind of products or games you need to invest in, put in your product based on the player demand and probably market gaps as well, because you could find some of the products which are not there, which you might bring with you. And probably the risk management, because some markets are shutting down, some markets are changing their landscape, some markets are becoming more competitive, some markets are becoming less attractive for the businesses to enter or the businesses to continue to grow, because imagine you're in the market where you invest millions of dollars into marketing, but the market is just, keeps declining for some reason. This could be like economical factors. This could be, regulatory decisions, like anything, right? And I think this is where you can really make a very tough decision, but also stop operating in a certain market.
Awesome. So how does this market research help companies identify new opportunities specifically, and also which markets they should possibly enter? Right.
I think probably emerging markets is my number one idea here, because researching and highlighting the regions with iGaming interest, which is growing, is very important, and it's quite rare. And everyone is saying, okay, there are like 100 plus countries where you can operate and do your business, etc. But we've seen them all, etc. But sometimes I see markets which are escaping and avoiding some human interest, and these markets are truly fascinating. So I think emerging markets probably the biggest one here. I think untapped niches, like identifying new customer segments or understanding, new types of customers, which are like in some specific games or products, or like, esport, for example, like some esport sports or niches, like even sometimes classical sports, but some very interesting patterns, leagues, sports, etc. And probably understanding more about the casual gamers as well, because in some of the markets you cannot really compete for the existing users, and you need to find a creative way in how to tap into non-existing users and understand how to convert them in iGaming. I think number three will be competitor and their gaps, like understand what kind of gaps in their offerings they got, where your company can build differentiated value or even new services? Do they offer retention bonuses? No? Okay, this is an opportunity. Do these guys offer you jackpots? Maybe some cashbacks, right? So do these guys are offering you new crash games? So there are so many new things which you can find and identify by looking at competitor gaps. I think, and probably the last one could be new technologies, right? I know that it might sound too harsh in 2024, but still, like, a lot of operators, they don't have mobile apps. So understanding, whether the market needs an app, whether the market, and the other competitors has an app, etc., give you like a very unique and interesting approach on how to, identify new opportunities in the existing markets.
Mm-hmm. And one thing we've spoken about, I believe it was in episode 1, was how fast-paced this industry is and how market research helps inform you of potential changes. But how do you use that market research to stay ahead of any industry trends or particularly anticipate changes in the competitive landscape?
Mm-hmm. I think it all comes down to consumer, to be honest, because if you continuously track player preferences, if you understand, market dynamics, you can really, understand more by looking at competitor activities, and you'll be able to spot some emerging trends. So I think looking at players and competitors is probably a good way on how to, understand the trends and shifts. And probably also using the data to understand, shifts in market saturation, or maybe in sometimes, technological disruptions, like, change of preferences, new games, etc. And I think regulatory is probably creating the most amount of noise here, but I think still understanding the market, especially if you never operated in the market, understanding, what's going on there in the last year or so, by not going and reading all the news related to it, but just looking at the markets, combined GGR or whatever, will make you understand about the market dynamics and its saturation as well. And I think, probably if you get a chance to adjust your business strategy in real time, informed by ongoing market insights, this is probably the biggest one you can do. If you remember COVID, right? Many companies, they struggle because of the speed of their decision making. So if you are armed with real time market insights, it's just like too stupid not to be able to use them to turn this into a weapon against other brands which are not leveraging this as the competitive advantage.
Okay, awesome. So one thing we've spoken about in a lot of our content is how you can look at other industries and bring ideas from outside industries into iGaming to innovate with our products, right? And when we're looking for upcoming trends, you mentioned looking at consumer behavior. So what market research can you conduct in industries outside of iGaming to be able to innovate with our products, with our strategies?
Mm-hmm. I think it's becoming tougher these days because, I don't think that there's many like very interesting technologies available out there which can dramatically change the user behavior. But still, I think, player preferences, understanding them, more within the other entertainment industries is a good start. Understanding what kind of games or features players are the most engaged with, understanding product design patterns, UX patterns. So I think this is where you can get a lot of inspiration. I don't think innovations such as like VR or gamification just gonna dramatically change the user behavior right now. I see researchers on how they slightly change the user behavior in LTV, but I don't think that the most dramatic switch is coming here. I think probably what you can also do is like get more into case studies from other industries, how they acquire users, how they retain users, understanding how do they shift behavioral habits, to acquire players in their niche and in their products. I think this is the most important part for anyone, because I think case studies are bringing the most valuable pieces of information, because this is something which people done previously, and this is where they can really be implemented pretty much immediately, and sometimes case studies are really actionable.
Mm-hmm. And do you have any specific case studies come to mind of how market research has helped a company pivot its business strategy successfully?
I mean, probably mobile is number one. I think when everyone just started using mobile apps, iGaming started looking there also, and I think the massive kind of market expansion for iGaming happened when everyone started building mobile apps, and you started just acquiring mobile users, because sometimes countries like Africa, for example, these guys were they never even used desktop, right? So they just immediately went into mobile, and the most beautiful user experience you can possibly get is in the native app, right? So I think pivot to mobile, and probably the usage of mobile apps is one of these examples. And I think another one could be geographical expansions, where one successful brand could look at the new region. I don't know, Latin America, Brazil is booming right now, and you're looking at, okay, Brazil is booming, so why don't we go there, for example, right? So, but in order to go there, you need to understand more about the product. You need to understand more about the competition, the real situation in the country, when it comes down to the player and the preferences, etc. So then you can localize your strategy and localize your product.
Okay, so let's wrap up this 3-part series with a look into the future. What role do you see market research playing in the future of iGaming, and how can companies stay ahead of these trends with market research and prepare for this?
Right. I think probably data-driven decision-making. I think this will always be my mantra. Make data-driven decisions. And, as the industry is becoming more competitive, companies should be relying more on the real-time data to make informed decisions fast. So this is not just you're looking at Excel sheet and making, a change of your Q4 strategy being in Q1 right now. This should be fast. This should be agile. This should be data-driven. So I think this is the key for me now. I think customer-centric innovation is probably not even maybe innovation, but just being more customer-centric. Understanding more user behavioral patterns, understanding more about the changes in user behavioral patterns, understanding more about the player experience, how to customize it, and be more personalized, right? Understand more about what's happening in the market right now and how to tap into this opportunity. And I think probably preparing for the future. I don't think many companies are utilizing AI well enough, because AI is probably one of your cheapest passes to operational excellence, right? Where you can replace a lot of manual work with AI, and not just replace people, but I'd rather say empower people, right? Give them the right tools to do their job better, and not spending hundreds of hours on doing something very, very, very simple manner using the help of AI and machine learning. So I think that this is probably it from my side, and I really enjoyed this series. Thanks a lot for the opportunity, John.
Okay, so that's the end of this 3-part series. Please drop a comment. Let us know whether you liked how we've delivered the content this time. I believe it's allowed us to go deeper, and hopefully we'll be able to produce more content like this in the future. Thanks again for sharing your insights, Dima.